Okay, hello all. This is another video for the Tremec transmission line. I'm just a few notes. I'm not so-called a certified expert that does this every day for a living. I am the typical home mechanic, and I do all this stuff on the side for to fund my project money. And so I've learned how to rebuild transmissions out of a necessity. I've been doing T5s. You can see a lot of parts up there for about 10 years, and then I started to branch out. The first one I built after that was a TKO. Then I've got a couple videos, very rough, on YouTube through T56. That was done with a one hand and a cell phone. So I'm trying to make this one a little bit better and go through the basic rebuild. This particular unit, it may be okay, but the customer was complaining, my friend was complaining of vibration, and he's done everything under the sun to get rid of the vibration. So we're going to pull it apart and see if the main shaft is warped. That's usually the only thing that's going to cause that. To test that, you need a couple of V-blocks, so I'll get to that later. And some basic tools for the Tremec that you're going to need: a 5/8 socket, a couple punches. The 3/16 punch, that's the one that's the most common. Snap ring pliers that look like that. That's used for T5 also. I've got an assortment of snap ring pliers. Later on, if we re-shim it, if there's play, there's none right now, we might need a micrometer. And of course this old trusty one, I got Harbor Freight. I like it better than the magnetic one. Okay, so to start off with, I've already removed the top plates, 1/2-inch bolts, and they look just like so. There's 2 of them, and you can see inside the unit here, it's got some shifter assembly mechanisms. This is pretty much the most complicated part of it. It's not that bad. Now these pins have to be driven out with a 3/16 punch. Now when you do, they're going to go straight down, and there's probably very likely that you're not going to be able to catch them after you drive them down. So you need to start with a clean work area down below you. That's about as clean as I get. But make sure there's no parts that you might say, oh no, was this from that transmission? I don't remember. So make sure that the area is good, because when you pull it apart, you're going to have to make sure that all these pins come out, because if you get one jammed up in there, your life is going to be hell. I once lost the key in a transmission from the sliders, and it lodged itself in between 2 gears and bent the gears, and that really sucked because I had to take everything apart. These are all 1/2-inch bolts on the top. We're going to separate the tail shaft from the main shaft. Everything here is 1/2-inch bolts, including the ones I've already removed. Okay, it's always nice to have a couple containers if you have kids. I use baby containers. You can always borrow an in and out container, you know. Keep all your stuff separate from all the rest of the junk. These bolts right here, they're 15s. So we're going to pull the shifter, and my compressor might get kind of loud, so here goes that. I'm going to cheat. Instead of using a ratchet, which takes forever, if that's all you got, you can use a ratchet. I would suggest not using this to tighten everything back together, because this really is a strip of bolt. And don't use the highest torque setting possible, or your bolts might go flying everywhere. some kind of wire holder right there. I don't know if that's factory or not. Obviously nothing's factory. This is an aftermarket transmission, pulled from a supercharged, something like an 89 supercharged coupe, making a lot of power. I think it's a stroker too. So we've done a lot of launches on this thing. We're going to upgrade this particular unit with the new carbon fiber synchro and the brass synchronizer inserts for the forks. Part of the problem with these transmissions are they're very notchy to shift, and the new carbon fiber synchro blocker ring upgrade is supposed to eliminate that difficulty shifting, especially when you're up at around 6,000 RPM. Trying to go fast because we're shooting video here, but really take your time. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we have all the case bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on. Get these side bolts here. Here's what a tab looks like for TKO. You can see that. Still says 3550 on it, but I've researched the numbers and it verifies it's a TKO. Oh, by the way, these transmissions are extremely similar to the 3550 and the older TKO units. They're pretty much identical. So this would apply to the original TKO 3550 and of course the 500, 600 model. There's only minor differences. Yep. Okay, fluid's coming out, so know that we have some success. Keep your work environment clean. I need to take my own advice. All right. A couple more that I've forgotten. Up here at top, there's a lot of bolts. It's over 100 degrees out here in California right now, so I'm sweating like a pig doing this. Oh, God, that thing is loud. Okay, this, see if you can see that. This is silicone on here. Don't know that it necessarily needs to be. I don't do it on the T5s. And they don't leak, but never heard it. It does kind of suck to get them off, though. You don't want to create any nicks or anything, so don't hit it too hard. Okay, that's all it took. Watch out for the little cup. Do not miss that. It kind of snaps on. I would take it off, put it in your parts bin, because if you lose that, then you got to find another one. Okay, so we're at the point now where we're going to drive out our pins. Remember, we had 3 up top, 3 here, and there's actually 1 more right here. Once we do that, I can slide my tail shaft off. Pick a hammer of your choice. I have several. Believe it or not, a sledgehammer comes in handy quite often. Let's start with this one, so make sure you can see what I'm doing. Put it on top of the pin. That's it, drive it straight down. Okay, now we got 3 more. I'm gonna let these fall all the way down to the bottom of the case, and then off video I'll just make sure that I'm accounting for all 7 of these things. Again, this is a 3/16 size punch. There's 1. No. 2. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so please stick with me. I'm going to make errors, stutter, might call things by different names, and we're all going to learn together. I've only done 3 or 4 of these, but they have all turned out fantastic. So let's go ahead and tail shaft should, in theory, slide right off. It's already separated on its own. Sometimes they're really siliconed on there. Actually, let's go ahead and pull these pieces off. Now, it always pays to see the orientation of these pieces if you've never done that before. What I do is I take a million photographs of everything before I take anything apart so that you know how everything goes together. So that way, if you ever get lost, you're not going to have a problem. You can figure it all out. Okay, I'm trying to remember how these things come off. Okay, there's one. Looks like that. It's got a little spring thing that is not going to come off. There's a left and a right side, and they're specific to the side they're on. They're not identical, they're opposite. Okay. There's the middle piece. And the final piece. Notice the pins went straight down to the bottom. They should be lying on my table or in the bottom of the case by now. Alright, I'm looking at it now, and it would appear that I did not have to drive this pin out of the shifter assembly because that rod does not go all the way through. Like I said, it's been a while. So let's see if it'll separate now. There it is. That's beautiful. Okay, put this somewhere. Okay, here's 2 of them. They are different lengths. Okay, I need 5 more now. There is a bearing race on the bottom of this, so beware of that. There's also shims on there. That's going to be how you shim your cluster play. Often, you don't have to shim it. Not always, but often. Because if you're not making any drastic changes, it's just going to go back together. It's going to be the same. So, alright, at this point, the lid should pull off. Make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Let's see. It might require some convincing. Let's try a little tapping. Okay. Like I said, don't be too rough on anything. Make sure you've got all the bolts out, and I do. It's just got a little bit of RTV going on here. Actually, don't use a screwdriver. Do something like a bigger punch. Okay, let's try it from a different angle. I'm hitting it on the wrong spot. Okay, actually I just put it under that tab, pry it up. That's all it took. Okay. First inspection, you want to inspect your plastic tabs. Here is, make sure you can see this one right here. Okay, right there. It's kind of weird working on a camera with a tripod. You see how this plastic shift fork tab is splitting. They sell, I want to say brass, but I don't think that's the right word. They're made out of solid metal material, and that's one of the upgrades for this unit, is to replace them with that. Now you can see the ones on the bottoms here. These are actually destroyed. Oh boy, this one's fallen off. So that one's broken. This one is this one's broken here too. It's really worn and chewed out. So it's good that this is apart. These little plastic guys only cost $9 a piece. I think my friend's getting them from Liberty Performance. Inside of these things are pretty stout. They're not like the old T5 transmission that wear. I pulled apart 3 or 4 of them, like I said, and they don't have a lot of wear usually, unless your clutch is all wacky and you've been forcing it into gear. So here's the thing: they came with all brass synchronizer rings, or brass, yeah. And see if you can see that. Oh, that would be my phone. Anyway, all of them are made out of brass. There's no carbon fiber in them like the newer ones. This is one, for example, off of a T5, and see, it's carbon fiber lined on the inside. This is a 5th gear for a T5. However, it's the same thing as what's inside that Tremec right now. In fact, I think I got an actual Tremec piece. That's not it. This is actual T56 ring, if I remember right. And see, they're carbon fiber lined. So what we're going to do is about 50 bucks a piece. You can get carbon fiber lined units. When they come in, I'll show them to you, and that will improve your shift. So even if this shaft is not warped, we're going to go ahead and upgrade all that stuff inside of it. So at least when he gets it back, it's going to be in really great shape. Okay, I'll show you a few things inside. Looks pretty good. Nothing broken. First gear right here. This is the slider, goes back and forth. Select first gear. Okay, it's in first gear. This is when you shift the clutch fork. You want second gear. That's second gear. Okay, obviously your synchronizer is what slows the gear down as it free spins so that you don't grind. And this is third. Third. And this is fourth, which is always integral with the input shaft. And of course, same thing. If you want to select the gears, slide back and forth. I do believe there's billet keys you can get for the inside of those too. 5th gear is right on the outside. So at this point, I'm going to shut it down so that we can do a part 2 of deinstallation for the 5th gear and the shaft. I think that would be a good place to start part 2. Worthy of mentioning, I'll mention on the next startup, but I screw this up every time. Behind 5th gear, this whole unit right here, okay? Once you get this bearing is not pressed on. Once you get this fork off, okay, there's going to be a pin in here. You drive the pin in, and I screw this up every time. There are about 10,000 little needle bearings inside here, and they push in. And if you remove it wrong, boom, they fall out in a billion pieces, and you got to use wheel bearing grease on the inside and very carefully line them all up. It takes about a good 20-30 minutes to line them all in there. I mean, literally, there's probably 100 of them. So be very careful when you remove that you're expecting that. I've done it wrong all 3 times and had to put them all back together all 3 times. I'm hoping this time I remember the correct procedure for removing it so that I don't have to take another half hour putting all those pins in. See you soon.